So today I'm going to talk about long-acting PrEP. We're going to discuss what we are yung kung narinig niyo yung term na landmark trials, no, pag-uusapan natin ito. And I hope na makakayanan kong gawing very easy to understand ang mga results ng trials na ito kasi medyo aaminin natin, may konti siyang technicalities. Pero despite having that, I will do my best to explain it in a practical way para mas relevant sa ating everyday na trabaho. Okay, so let's begin. Sige, so una, ang background muna kung bakit ba naisipang gumawa ng long-acting PrEP. So despite our many interventions regarding prevention and even oral PrEP, worldwide, new HIV infections still continues to exceed 5,000 new diagnoses per day. So kung isipin mo, parang di naman yata effective yung prevention na ginagamit namin. Or effective man siya, baka hindi siya tina-take up ng mga tao. Hindi siya ina-apply. Kaya kahit gano'n siya kaganda, on paper or at the lab, sa real world, bakit parang hindi ganun yung nakikita natin? We all know that when taken properly, correctly in the advised dosage, oral PrEP is effective, di ba? Motto natin yan. When taken properly, oral PrEP is 99% preventive of HIV. However, it is important to note that yung effectiveness niya ay directly related sa adherence, no? Whether it's something that you take regularly, planned, or as kumbaga on an on-demand basis, effective siya. However, um, kung hindi mo siya tinitake ng kung ano yung dapat niyang i-take, kung paano siya dapat i-take, hindi siya magiging effective. No? Nakita rin natin to sa nakaraang mga trials. So ngayon, nag-conduct din ng mga acceptability studies na kung saan tinatanong ano ba ang gusto ng tao, no, tungkol doon. And nakita nila na gusto ng tao kung hindi dictated na regular or everyday ang PrEP. Mas bet nila yung ganon, no? So, there is increased acceptability and therefore, mas gagamitin nila. And therefore, mas protected sila kung ito ay non-regular or non-planned. No? So, kumbaga, we are learning a lot of things along the way. If you notice, nagsimula tayo sa PrEP must be taken daily, no? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Tapos nagkaroon tayo ng PrEP na on demand, kung kailan ka lang ma-expose, kung malapit na, ganyan. Or meron din tayo ng depende sa iyong pagkatao, how you start ang PrEP and how you end your PrEP. Okay, so kumbaga nag-e-evolve din yung mga knowledge natin and practice about PrEP. So currently, tumor tayo sa pinaka-right side na column. HIV prevention is made available by the following, no? Alam natin na kapag undetectable ka, ikaw ay untransmittable. So, yun yung role ng mga PLHIV natin. Nagiging part din sila ng prevention. Okay? Kasi pag UD sila, hindi sila makapasa. Okay? Next, good old reliable male and female condoms. And then, voluntary medical male circumcision. Next, among PWIDs, syringe exchange programs para hindi mag-share ng needles. And then, of course, there's daily oral PrEP and PEP. And ito yung pag-uusapan natin today, no? Sa newly approved and recommended, meron tayong dalawang injectable long-acting PrEP. No? Ito yung focus ng ating conversation today. Ito yung cabotegravir and lenacapavir. So, hindi natin pag-uusapan today yung dapivirine vaginal. Okay? Ngayon, just so that you know, ito yung mga other efficacy trials underway is yung daily oral PrEP na, ano ba to? TAF. Okay? TAF. tough for cisgender women. Okay? And then yung isa is combination oral prep and oral contraceptive pills. And tapos alam ko merong monthly oral prep also in the works din yan. So kumbaga marami tayo pang makikita along the way. So but for now, we'll focus on these two things. Okay. Let's do a little bit of review para alam natin saan ba uma-act atong mga long-acting PrEP natin since we're talking about two things. Let's start first with the first drug I'm going to talk about, which is cabotegravir. Cabotegravir is similar to dolutegravir in that it is an integrase strand transfer inhibitor. So dito siya uma-act. Okay? Sa step ng integration ng ating HIV life cycle, ito yung pinipigilan niya. So, para siyang dolyu. Okay? Cabotegravir siya. Yan. Doon muna tayo. Hanggang doon lang. Okay. So, the first efficacy trial of cabotegravir is called HPTN-083. Okay? So, ito na yung trial, ito na yung study. Okay? Tinest nila ang cabotegravir versus oral PrEP. Ang oral PrEP nun is tenofovir plus FTC, which is what we're using no, currently. Kinompare nila among 4,566 cisgender MSM and transgender women. Itong characteristics ng mga subjects or participants nila ay in general in good health sila. Meaning, they tested them at negative sila sa HIV, Hep B, Hep C, wala silang butt implants, wala silang recent drug use, and normal yung kanilang kidney function. So, ang ginawa nila, para kasi walang bias, no? Sa mga study participants, gumawa sila ng tinatawag nating placebo. Okay, ang placebo is a fake, no? Fake drug. Usually, para siyang, kung injectable siya, para lang siyang tubig or saline water, pero kamukhang-kamukha niya yung drug na tinetest. So, bawat isang subject, ni-randomize sila to either receiving the cabotegravir or the oral PrEP. Pero pareho silang kukuha ng isang injection at isang tablet. Pati yung kabila, isang injection, isang tablet. Sobrang magkamuka. Pero in actuality, yung isa doon ay placebo. Tapos yung isa is the real drug. Okay. So ngayon, nag-study sila for 3 years. Okay? Sa 3 years na to, ang phases niya is merong oral phase wherein iinom lang sila ng either oral cab or oral PrEP. Either one is placebo. Okay? Just to test kung safe ba sa kanila yung drug. Okay? After nun, eto na. Nag-inject na sila nung injection plus taking of oral PrEP or the oral pill. And then, since yung injection ng cabotegravir is given every 2 months, babalik yung pasyente. Every 2 months, babalik ako sa trial site kasi injection na ako, etc. etc. Nangyari to for 3 years. Okay? Yan. So, yan yung itsura ng trial. Ito yung itsura ng cabotegravir. Brand name niya is Apretude. It is manufactured by Viv Sciences. And then, ang pagbigay sa kanya is intramuscular injection sa puwet. Parang kung paano nyo binibigay yung Pen-G nyo. Exactly how it's given. It's 3 ml. So, medyo marami siya. So, doctor or nurse yung nagbibigay. IM siya. Okay, binibigay. So, pati yung placebo, ini-inject dito sa puwet. Kaya nga, kailangan yung participant, wala silang butt implants para hindi harangan yung muscle ng puwet. Okay, ito na yung result. Okay. Una, pag-usapan natin yung effectivity. Okay, effectiveness niya. So, ito mo tayo sa graph na to. Among those na nasa CAB group, yung nakatanggap ng tunay na cabotegravir, nagkaroon ng 13 infections. Samantalang yung nasa oral PrEP group, okay, ay nagkaroon ng 39 infections. Okay? So, when comparing cabotegravir to oral PrEP, they found out that there was 66% lower HIV infections with CAB versus oral PrEP. Okay? So there is 3 times less risk of HIV when you use cabotegravir. Okay. So, paano kaya nangyari yun? So, ganito yan. Kailangan natin siyang compare in the background of adherence. Okay. So, during the lead-in, di ba remember sa lead-in phase, lahat nag-tablet naman for safety. Ang ganda ng adherence ng lahat ng tao, 96.6%. No? Whether you're from the CAB group or from the oral PrEP group, 96% ang daily rate ng pag-inom nila ng tablet. Ngayon, pagdating ngayon sa actual official study phase wherein may ini-inject na, may iniinom na, ang sure na nagde-daily oral PrEP is only 74.2% ng participants. So, bumaba na yung adherence. Tapos, yung mga proportion ng participants na at least 4 out of 7 days ay naka-oral PrEP sila in the last 2 months is 72.3. Okay? So, kumbaga, nakikita na natin dito yung trend in real life. Ini-echo nung trial, yung nangyayari sa totoong buhay na hindi na masyadong nagiging super adherent yung mga dapat ay umiinom ng daily. Kasi ganun talaga, di ba? Napapansin natin na hindi na masyado dume-daily yung mga daily natin. However, yung mga nag-i-injection, yung period of being covered by the injectable is 91.5%. So kumbaga, yung adherence nila sa injection is much better sa adherence nila sa daily pill. Okay? So yan. So, yun siguro ang iniisip ko na reason kung bakit mas maraming incident HIV infections dun sa grupo na naka-oral PrEP. Baka dun sa mga araw na hindi sila nainom ng PrEP, ay dun sila naka-exposure. Okay? Ngayon, among those na nagkaroon ng HIV infections during the trial, may nakita din sila ng mga drug-resistant mutations. So it's important na malaman natin na when the participants were screened, meron silang na-discover na merong may HIV during baseline, meaning ito na yung may window period pala sila, tapos sumali sila sa trial, pero yun pala may HIV na sila. So ito yung mga, yung pag sinastart natin ng PrEP, tapos pagbalik after 1 month reactive na, yung pala nasa window period sila, ito yon, they were HIV positive on baseline. So among those baseline, may isang nagkaroon ng resistance to cabotegravir or INSTI, and may dalawang nagkaroon ng resistance to NNRTI, which is your tenofovir and, your NRTI, which is your tenofovir and your emtricitabine. And among those who had new infections or incident during the trial, 4 ang nagkaroon among those in the cabotegravir arm and 2 from the oral PrEP. So, ano ang bottom line lesson dun sa part na yon? Is that, first, kung meron tayong pasyente na merong existing HIV infection when we start PrEP, sila yung may high likelihood to get resistance when exposed to the drug. Okay? And then second is, even during a new infection, pwede ka rin mag-develop ng resistance to your PrEP. So, kumbaga, kung walang HIV, walang mutation, walang resistance, ang problema sa mga to, nagka-HIV sila. So, kaya nagkaroon sila ng infection, ng mutation. Ngayon, safety-wise, ang nag-document ng mild to moderate injection site reactions is actually medyo marami, no? 81.4%. Pero mild to moderate lang to. I'll discuss more about injection site reactions later on. So yan ha, in general, yan siya. 66% lower infections with CAB-LA versus oral PrEP. So if you think about it, mas maganda yung injectable kaysa sa oral. Okay? So after this, nagkaroon ng more trials regarding cabotegravir. And ito siya. Now, if we combine yung risk reduction ng dalawang efficacy studies, hindi lang siya 66, 79%. Okay? Yung risk reduction, meaning versus oral PrEP, cabotegravir decreases your risk for HIV by 79%. Okay, so tumaas, di ba, yung efficacy ng cabotegravir. Unfortunately, walang study ang nag-include ng sex workers or PWIT. So, yan. May kakulangan din siya. At least may cisgender women, may MSM, yan. Tsaka medyo, excuse me, may variability naman yung mga countries natin. So, that's it for cabotegravir. Now, let's go to the other long-acting drug, which is lenacapavir. Ito siya, ha? Sige, so it's important to note that lenacapavir is a first in its class prevention that inhibits the capsid. Okay? It's a capsid inhibitor. So, it acts on 3 areas. Yan. Itong nuclear transport, itong assembly, and yung release and maturation. Kasi yung balot yung kanyang piniprevent na mag-form. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to discuss 2 landmark trials on lenacapavir. Itong Purpose 1, babae to, okay? Cisgender women. Kaya very focused on cisgender women. Yung Purpose 2, mamaya yung gender diverse. So ito muna tayo sa Purpose 1, okay? So it's a capsid inhibitor and this time yung administration niya is subcutaneously versus yung kaninang cabotegravir na intramuscular. So ito, medyo mas mababaw ng konti. Okay? And versus cabotegravir na every 2 months, this one is every 6 months. So parang twice a year lang siya. Okay? So yun muna. Yun ang kanyang background. Okay. So ito yung study design niya. Alam ko medyo busy yung slide, pero siguro ang kailangan natin itindihin sa highlights is that ito ay ginawa sa South Africa and Uganda. Cisgender women ang kanilang participants. And again, generally healthy sila. And 5,368 sila. Merong 3 arms. Okay? Ng trial na ito. Versus kanina, di ba sa cabotegravir, 2 arms lang. Ito, they compared lenacapavir to tenofovir, disoproxil fumarate, and emtricitabine, and tenofovir alafenamide, and emtricitabine. Yan, drawing para mas madaling intindihin. Again, para hindi halata o hindi alam ng participant, ano ba yung napupunta sa aking trial drug is magkakamukha lahat. Okay? Pero syempre, yung isa may true at isa mayroong placebo. Ito yung itsura ng study design nila. Okay, so as a participant, hindi ko malalaman kung anong arm ako napupunta. Ito yung result. Okay. First, they determined muna among these, ilan ba to? 8,094 participants. Okay, ano ba ang background incidence ng HIV dito? So, nag-screen sila at nakita nila na ang background incidence nila is 2.41 per 100. No? So, for every 100 participants, 2.41 is merong HIV per year. So, yun yung tinatawag natin background HIV incidence. Kasi gusto rin malaman ng study versus the background HIV incidence, effective nga ba ang lenacapavir? So, ito na yung magandang result. Walang HIV infection doon sa grupo ng lenacapavir. As in 0. Okay? Wala. Doon sa binigyan ng tenofovir alafenamide, merong 39 infections. Doon sa binigyan ng tenofovir disoproxil fumarate, ito yung tinatake natin sa Pilipinas, 16 infections. Okay. At compare doon sa background incidence rate na 2.41. So, kumbaga, stellar ang performance nila nakapavir kasi walang nagka-HIV sa grupo nakatanggap ng nakapavir. Ngayon, tignan natin yung adherence. So, injection-wise, maganda. So, everybody was covered, parang yung sa cabotegravir, 91.5% during the 6 months and 92.8% during the 12 months. adherence to oral prep was low. Over time, paliit ng paliit ang ang umiinom ng at least more than 4 doses per week, no? Okay, what about safety? So if we look here, halos pare-pareho yung safety profile ng mga tao in all three arms. So ang conclusion nila is wala masyadong safety issues. Okay? Ang meron talaga is gaya nung sa cabotegravir, injection site reaction. So kahit na yung kabilang grupo ay nakatanggap ng placebo, yung mga nakatanggap talaga ng real lenacapavir ay medyo marami-rami, no? Ang injection site reaction. So feeling ko in real life kapag nangyari na to sa atin, ito yung pinaka may encounter natin na mga issues, no? Injection site reactions. So in conclusion, dito sa ating purpose 1, cisgender women on PrEP, conclusion number 1, no infections. Okay? So HIV incidence with lenacapavir was lower than the background incidence and the tenofovir oral PrEP incidence. Adherence to oral PrEP was poor. Okay? And then the medium or high TAF adherence syempre, was associated with lower odds of infection. So, ang sinasabi nila is, kapag maganda yung adherence ng tao, mas lower ang kanilang HIV infection, which is, alam naman natin na ganun talaga. And then, oral, TAF, and lenacapavir were well tolerated and safe. Okay, so yan ang conclusion ng purpose 1. Let's now go to the last trial I'm going to discuss with you today. Ito na yung purpose 2. Ito na yung kanilang participants ay gender diverse, no? So, same ang kanilang study design, nag-iba lang yung kanilang participants at nabawasan ng isang arm. Okay, yung trial. Instead of having 3 arms, tinanggal nila yung TAF at nilagay nila yung tenofovir emtricitabine versus lenacapavir. Okay? So, ganyan. Everybody will get an injection and a pill. Okay, so what they did was they screened everybody in the population. Okay, ilan nga ba to? Sorry ha, check ko lang. 3,295. Okay, 3,295 gay men and transgender women were screened for HIV para malaman nila yung background incidence of HIV infection, which was about 2.37 per 100 people. Tapos noon, eto na. Dun sa nakapasa sa trial na HIV negative, okay, ni-randomize nila into either receiving the true lenacapavir plus a placebo pill versus the oral PrEP na true versus a placebo injection. Okay, ang pagbigay is 6 months and 12 months. And then they looked into the HIV incidence. Okay, so they found out that among those in the lenacapavir arm, 2 lang ang nagkaroon ng HIV versus dun sa tenofovir or oral PrEP arm, 9 ang nagkaroon ng HIV. Okay? So, in conclusion, lenacapavir reduced infections by 89% when compared to oral PrEP. Lenacapavir reduced HIV infections by 96% when compared to the background HIV incidence. Safety-wise, among those taking oral PrEP, 2 na tao na nagkaroon ng decreased CREA clearance. No? Now, with regards to resistance, di ba 2 ang nagkaroon ng HIV? And napag-usapan natin kanina na to get resistance or mutation, you need to have HIV first. So ito, sa 2 tao na nagkaroon ng HIV, nakita na yes, meron din silang resistance to the HIV-1 capsid inhibitors. However, despite lenacapavir may still retain activity despite resistance-associated mutation. So, what they're saying is, even though they found out that mayroong 2 mutation, they cannot conclude. Kasi ang liit ng 2 tao eh. Parang, is it already a public health concern or hindi pa? So, they're just saying na may nakita kami, pero we don't know if it is clinically significant. Okay? Next question. What about sa mga participants na nag-gender-affirming hormone therapy? Preliminary evidence suggests that lenacapavir has no meaningful interactions with hormonal contraception or GATT. So, ano yung conclusion nila? Twice yearly subcutaneous lenacapavir for PrEP was effective in cisgender men, transgender women, transgender men, and gender non-binary people who are HIV negative. So, 89% effectiveness, risk reduction versus tenofovir disoproxil, and 96% risk reduction versus background HIV incidence. No? That's very high. So, kumbaga, very good yan. Frequency of adverse effect is equal in both groups. As opposed to cabotegravir na intramuscular injection, ito ay subcutaneous. So, dapat nandito siya. Okay? Skin, dermis, sub-Q, andun nito is yung muscle. So, hindi ka abot sa muscle, dito ka lang sa subcutaneous. So, pipisilin siya. Okay, pipisilin ng ganyan. Tapos, tutusukin siya in a 90-degree angle para magkaroon ng depot doon sa area na yon. So, syempre, pag masyadong mataba, no, parang ganito, hahanap ka ng mas, mas manipis na pwede mong kurutin. So, ang areas na pwede mong tusukan is yung chan and yung kita sa harapan. Okay, now, comparing cabotegravir and lenacapavir. Okay, ito yung ating napag-usapan today. Yung dose ng cabotegravir is every 8 weeks. Yung lenacapavir is every 6 months. So parang 2 months versus 6 months. Okay? Yung modality ng injection is intramuscular gluteal sa puwet sa cabotegravir, while sa lenacapavir is 2 abdominal subcutaneous injections. Effectiveness, no? Um, when you combine this, it is 79%, okay, versus oral prep. Sa purpose 2, it's 89% versus oral prep. And of course, 100% yung sa purpose 1. Okay? So it's quite good. Both of them have quite good effectiveness. Ngayon ang cost. Cabotegravir is medyo mahal. So ngayon, yung lenacapavir, napag-agrihan na ibibigay siya at $40 per year. Ina-assume natin is parang mga 6 to 7 years. In the future pa yun bago siya maging available as a generic product. Regulatory momentum. So, yung cabotegravir, in as much as nauna siya, no? Dahil mahal siya at merong implementation challenges kasi nung time na yon parang ni-require nila na mayroong viral load. Pag nag-HIV negative ka, pwede ka makatanggap ng CAB, pero kailangan kakuhaan pa rin ng HIV RNA para super, super, super sure na negative ka. Ngayon, yung lenacapavir is medyo mabilis, no? In this year, both CDC and WHO have given their blessing, their guidelines, etc. Now, ang bottom line nito is, oral prep is still good. Okay, let's not forget that. Totoo pa rin yung sinasabi natin na 99% ang effectiveness ng oral prep. Pero yung caveat niya is when taken properly and when taken with good adherence. So, yung limiting factor natin dito is yung adherence, no? So, it's something that really we depend on our clients on. So, kapag hindi sila nagte-take ng the way the oral prep is to be taken, nagfa-falter yung effectiveness niya. Doon pumapasok ngayon yung edge ng long-acting. Kasi sa long-acting, inaasahan mo lang sila, kung cabotegravir every 2 months, kung lenacapavir twice a year. So parang mas malaki yung chance na nagiging adherent sila. Therefore, yung effectiveness ng PrEP is mas nagre-reach ng kanyang ideal. Ano magiging role ninyo sa una sa study and maybe later on kung maging katotohanan na ito? So, because this is administered at the clinic, our doctors and nurses are going to be the ones to administer. Okay? Tapos nun, ano naman ang role ng mga case managers, peer navigators, no? Kayo ang magiging guide ng ating mga clients to ensure success. No? We will help present the various prep options, no, to the clients. We will see if long-acting PrEP is what is best for them. We will answer the frequently asked questions. And whatever type of PrEP na meron sila, whether it's oral or long-acting injection, we should contribute to ensuring adherence. No? Anong sample? Anong sample ng mga eksenang ganon? Yan, what if? Ito yung mga frequently asked questions, no? Paano kung na-delay o na-miss ko yung dose ko? Yung sa, ano pala, injection site pain, no? Since ito yung pinaka-feeling ko na magiging focus ng mga clients natin, ano ang kailangan mangyari? Ice pack before and after injection. We can think about what pain relief medication to give, whether topical or oral, and pain relief devices. Alam mo yun, may mga parang distraction sa mga bakuna para hindi masyadong masakit. Tapos important din na kailangan HIV negative siya before each injection. So kailangan natin silang i-inform about that. We have to discuss ano expectations nila after makatanggap ng injection. And then discuss also that the most common sites include headache, GI upset, and then yung mga injection site issues. Okay? Yung mga injection site reactions include ganun. Pain, skin hardening, naninigas yung balat, swelling, itching, redness, bruising, and warmth. I'm gonna show you some pictures of injection site reactions in those who received PrEP injectables, no? So, nodule or bukol, pain, induration. Ang induration is parang swelling, pero nagiging parang shiny peklat siya, ganon. Swelling, pruritus or kate, erythema or namumula, bruising or pasa, and then warmth or mainit. And then mild lang naman daw yung injection site reaction, usually mild to moderate, no? Ang severe cases, konti lang, pero it can be like an ulcer or a nodule, ulcer, pain, erythema, edema, and dermatitis. Walang serious injection site reaction during the 2 trials. Ito na, sample, no? Ito yung mga case studies ng mga reported na mga injection site reaction. So, ito ay induration occurring after the first subcutaneous lenacapavir dose. So, sa kanyang week 62 visit, itong nakabilog, di ko makita eh. Ito naman nodule, so parang siyang bukol. And then ito naman, induration din. Okay? So if you notice, di siya masyadong kita. Pero syempre, pagkatawan mo, alam mo kung ano yung hindi normal. So we should be prepared to address questions like this from our patient, no? Especially if they are worried about it. This is a person who received lenacapavir as ARV. Sa kanya, nag-develop talaga siya ng severe, no, site nodule at binayopsy siya. Nakita na mayroong granulations, no, or pamemeklat sa loob ng nodule. So, medyo malaki yung nodule niya, no. Yan. Tapos after a few weeks, ito na siya, lumiit na siya. Pero nung bago-bago pa lang, umaki siya ng ganyan, kalaki. Okay. So, itong patient na to, nainis siya, ayaw na niya ng lalaki. Tumigil na siya. Kasi nga, hindi niya nagustuhan yung kanyang side effect. So we should also be prepared that there are people who will decline lenacapavir because of issues like this. So we will need to be able to counsel them. Okay? So, before I end today, I want to hear from you sa ating chat. Kunyari, ikaw ang gagamit, no, ng PrEP. Anong PrEP regimen ang ipe-prefer mo sa iyong sarili? Would you rather stay sa tenofovir, disoproxil fumarate, and FTC, which is what you're using today? Or gusto mo ba nung kidney-friendly TAF and FTC? Kung babae ka, gusto mo ba ng dapivirine vaginal ring na lang? Or gusto mo try yung long-acting natin na CAB-LA and lenacapavir. So if you want to share your preference, you can type it in our chat box. Ayan. So habang nagta-type kayo, we are now opening the floor for questions because tapos na yung aking lecture. Thanks for listening.